Elias believed his room was the quietest place on the station. That was the reason he chose it. It was small, plain, and far from the observation decks where tourists gathered. After 12 hours of system maintenance, quiet felt like a reward. He opened the door expecting silence. Instead, someone was sitting on his bed. She was not human. Elias froze, with one hand still on the door panel. His brain refused to panic immediately, which surprised him later. The alien looked calm, composed, and very much settled. She had folded her legs neatly and was reading something on a floating display, as if this was her assigned space. She looked up at him. "Oh," she said, her voice smooth and clear through the translator field. "You're back early." Elias blinked once, twice.
"Yeah."
"In my room," he said carefully.
"Yeah."
"Yes," she replied. "I am aware." That was not the answer he wanted. She stood up, taller than him by a few centimeters. Her skin was pale silver, with faint lines that shifted slowly, like thoughts moving under the surface. Her eyes were large but gentle, reflecting the soft lights of the room. "I am Lirith," she said. "Xeno-neurologist. Observer Class 3. Elias finally found his voice again. "How did you get in here?" "You left the access permission open during your last systems update," she said, as if explaining a small mistake.
I corrected it afterward. That did not make him feel better. "You can't just stay here," Elias said.
"This is a restricted human living space." "Yes," Lirith said. "That is why it is ideal." Elias exhaled slowly and stepped inside, closing the door behind him, more out of habit than comfort. His room looked the same, except for her. No damage. No strange tools. Just an alien scientist calmly occupying his personal space. "Why are you here?" he asked. She tilted her head slightly. "Because humans are addictive." The word hit him wrong. "What?" "Addictive," she repeated. "Repeated exposure to humans causes measurable changes in neural activity in 47 known species. My people are one of them." Elias stared at her, unsure whether to laugh or call station security. "That's not possible," he said. "We're just people." "That is the problem," Lirith replied.
"You are not predictable enough to be harmless."
She gestured toward the room. "May I sit again?"
Elias nodded automatically, his mind still catching up.
She returned to the bed and folded her legs again, watching him with focused interest. "I am conducting the long-term study," she continued. "Short exposure was not sufficient. I required proximity, unfiltered behavior, natural routines." "So you broke into my room," Elias said. "Yes?" "Not okay. I have filed the necessary documentation," she said calmly. "You are listed as unwitting participant." Elias rubbed his face with both hands. This was not how his evening was supposed to go. "Okay," he said finally. "You can't stay. I'm reporting this." Lirith's expression changed. Not fear, not anger. Something closer to concern. "If you remove me," she said, "there will be consequences." "Are you threatening me?" "No," she said quickly. "I am informing you." She stood again and took a step closer. Elias noticed then how carefully she moved, as if every motion was controlled. "My species experiences accelerated neural response when exposed to human presence," she explained. "Creativity, emotional range, adaptive thinking? It is overwhelming." Elias swallowed. "So leave." "I tried," she said. There was a pause. "I lasted 12 minutes." She looked down at her hands. The withdrawal symptoms were severe. Disorientation, cognitive dulling, emotional silence. That made him uncomfortable in a different way. "You're saying you can't leave my room?" he said. "Yes, that's insane." "Correct,"
she said.
It is statistically improbable. Elias leaned against the wall, arms crossed. This sounds like a you problem, he said. I didn't agree to any of this. You did not, she said softly. That is why I am observing. Humans do not choose to be influential. You simply are. He stared at her, trying to decide if this was some elaborate joke. Why me? He asked. You talk to yourself when you work, she said. You hum without realizing it. You make decisions emotionally, then justify them logically. These behaviors are highly stimulating. That's not a compliment. It is the highest one I can give. The room fell quiet. Outside, the station hummed with distant activity. Inside, Elias felt like reality had shifted slightly off-center. So what now? He asked. I stay, she said. No. Yes, he straightened.
I'm calling security. You may, she said. They will arrive.
They will remove me. And within 1 standard hour, I will be medically unfit to continue functioning.
Elias hesitated. That sounds dramatic, he said.
It is measurable, she replied. I can show you the data. She raised her display and projected charts into the air. Neural patterns, sharp rises, and sudden drops, all labeled in clinical language. Elias hated how convincing it looked.
You should have told someone, he said. I did, she replied.
They advised avoidance. I am a scientist. Avoidance is not how understanding is achieved. That doesn't give you the right to invade my life.
I am aware, she said.
I am sorry. The apology sounded real. Elias sighed. Temporary, he said. You stay temporarily. We figure this out. Her eyes brightened slightly. Thank you, she said. Do not thank me yet, he replied. You're sleeping on the floor. She paused. I do not require sleep. Then that works perfectly. He sat at his desk, still watching her from the corner of his eye. This was already the strangest thing that had happened to him since joining the station. Lirith watched him quietly, absorbing every small movement, every shift of posture. Somewhere deep in her mind, something unfamiliar stirred, and she knew, with growing certainty, that leaving this room would be much harder than she had expected. Elias did not sleep well that night. It was not because of danger. It was because of awareness. He could feel another presence in the room, quiet but alert, like a light left on in his mind. Every time he shifted on the bed, he wondered if Lirith noticed. She did. She noticed everything. Lirith sat on the floor near the wall, legs folded in a way that looked uncomfortable to Elias, but seemed natural to her. She did not move for hours. She did not blink. Often. Her eyes followed Elias whenever he turned. At first, Elias tried to ignore it. He faced the wall, pulled the blanket higher, and told himself this was temporary. Just a misunderstanding mixed with alien science and bad luck. Tomorrow, he would talk to someone important. Someone with authority. But morning came faster than expected. The station lights shifted to a soft white glow, signaling the start of a new cycle. Elias groaned and rolled onto his back. Lirith was still there. She was closer now, not dangerously close, just nearer than before. You moved? Elias said. Yes, she replied, while I was sleeping. Yes, that's not comforting. I adjusted my position to better observe your resting state, she said. You express vulnerability during sleep. Elias sat up quickly. Do not observe me sleeping. I will reduce observation, she said immediately. I apologize. That apology again. Too smooth. Too sincere. Elias rubbed his eyes. Do you ever stop analyzing? No, she said. But humans do. That is fascinating. He stood and stretched, trying to regain control of his day. I need to get ready for work. I will remain unobtrusive, she said. That would be great. She watched him brush his teeth. She watched him choose clothes. She watched him forget where he put his datapad, and then find it in his hand. You do that often, she said. Do what? Search for objects you are already holding. It's called being tired. It is called divided attention, she corrected. Your mind operates in layers, Elias sighed. Please stop narrating my existence. I will attempt to limit commentary, she said. Attempt, not promise. When Elias left the room, he hesitated. You're not coming with me. No, she said. I will stay. He locked the door behind him, hoping that meant something. The corridor felt different that day. People looked at him longer. Some stepped aside too quickly. A few aliens whispered in frequencies he could not hear, but somehow felt. At work, his supervisor called him in before he even sat down. Elias, the supervisor said carefully. Do you have an unregistered alien in your quarters? Elias closed his eyes. Yes, that was fast. She filed paperwork, the supervisor said. Very detailed paperwork. I didn't invite her. We know, the supervisor said. That's the problem. They showed him a screen filled with data, neural scans, psychological charts, warning symbols. Several species have shown interest, the supervisor said. After brief interactions with humans, Elias frowned. Interest? Obsession, the supervisor corrected. Elias felt cold.
She says humans are addictive, he said.
The supervisor nodded slowly. That term has come up. What does that mean for us? It means the council is nervous, the supervisor said. They don't like things they can't regulate. Elias thought of Lyrith, sitting on his floor, trying not to observe him too much.
She's not dangerous, he said.
No, the supervisor agreed.
You might be.
That sentence followed Elias all the way back to his room. When he opened the door, Lyrith looked up instantly.
You are distressed, she said.
Everyone knows, Elias replied. About you, about this.
Yes, she said. The information spread rapidly. Because of you, I do not regret sharing data, she said.
But I regret causing you discomfort. Elias dropped into his chair. You're turning my life into a case study. You were always a case study, she said gently. You simply did not know. That made him angry in a quiet way. I didn't ask to be special, he said. That is a human trait, she replied. You become special without permission. He looked at her sharply. Is that why you're here, because you like us? Lyrith was silent for a long moment. I do not experience liking as you do, she said slowly. But being near you produces expansion. Thoughts connect, emotions sharpen. I feel more. That sounds dangerous, Elias said.
Yes, she agreed. To systems built on control.
The station announced a public advisory that evening. Elias watched it on his wall display, while Lyrith observed his reaction. The message warned all non-human species to limit exposure to humans until further notice. It used careful language, but the meaning was clear. Humans were a risk.
They're scared, Elias said.
Yes, Lyrith replied. Fear is logical when change accelerates. Elias laughed softly. We're just messy, loud, emotional.
You are adaptive, she corrected. You fail, then try again differently.
Most species do not, because failure hurts. You accept pain as information, she said. That is rare. He leaned back in his chair. So, what happens to you? There is discussion of relocation, she said. To where? Anywhere, not near humans. Her voice remained calm, but her hands tightened slightly. And you can't handle that, Elias said.
No, she said, but I am learning.
That surprised him. You're getting better? Yes, she said.
Short absences are less damaging now. Elias felt something like guilt.
Because of me. Because of exposure.
She corrected.
You do not weaken me. You strengthen me.
The next day, others came, not into his room, just near it, standing outside. Watching. Curious. A small group of aliens requested permission to speak with Elias. The council approved it under strict supervision. They asked strange questions. How do humans tolerate uncertainty? Why do you joke when stressed? How do you continue after loss? Elias answered honestly. We don't know how. We just do. Lyrith listened from the corner, silent but focused. After they left, she spoke softly. You changed them. I just talked, Elias said. Exactly, she replied. Later that night, the station lights dimmed again. Elias sat on his bed, exhausted in a new way.
So, he said, are you still addicted?
Lyrith considered the word. No, she said. Not addicted. Then what? Engaged, she said, challenged, awake. She looked at him, eyes reflecting the soft glow. Humans do not trap, she continued. You invite. Elias lay back, staring at the ceiling. That might be worse, he said. Yes, she agreed. For a galaxy afraid of change. Outside the room, policies were shifting. Inside, two beings from different worlds shared silence. And for the first time, Elias realized the problem was no longer Lyrith staying. It was what would happen when she finally left. By the third cycle, Elias noticed the station had become quieter around him. Not empty, just careful. People still walked the corridors, still worked, still talked, but when Elias passed, conversation softened. Movements slowed. Some aliens stepped back, as if distance itself could protect them. Others watched him with open curiosity, their eyes bright with questions they were afraid to ask. Inside his room, things felt different too. Lyrith no longer sat in the same place all the time. She moved now, slowly, carefully, like someone learning a new rhythm. She would stand near the wall and observe the light. She would sit by the desk and watch Elias work. Sometimes she would look out the small window and stay there, silent.
You're pacing, Elias said one evening.
Yes, she replied. I have learned the habit from you. That's not always a good thing. It helps me think, she said. That worried him more than if she had said nothing. The council message arrived later that night. It was formal, polite. Final, Lyrith was to be relocated within one cycle. Elias was ordered to prepare for separation. The message framed it as a safety measure. For her, for him, for the station. Elias read it twice. Lyrith stood beside him, reading over his shoulder. They have decided, she said calmly.
They don't understand, Elias replied. They think this is some kind of sickness.
Humans disrupt balance. That's not a crime. For some civilizations, she said, it is the greatest one. Elias turned to her. You said you were improving, that you could handle short absences. Yes, she said. Short. This won't be short. No! The silence that followed felt heavy. The next day, the station announced new restrictions. Human movement was limited. Human interaction required approval. Cultural exchanges were paused. Elias watched the announcement with clenched fists. They're turning us into a problem, he said. They are trying to protect themselves, Lirith replied. Change is painful. So is fear, Elias said. Requests began arriving after that. Quiet ones. Private ones. Aliens asked to speak with Elias. Not as a group. One at a time. They wanted conversations. Stories. Questions. Answered. Some asked about loss. Some about hope. Some about why humans kept going when logic said they should stop. Elias answered them all. He did not inspire them on purpose. He did not teach them anything new. He only spoke honestly, the way humans always had. Lirith watched each meeting closely. They are changing faster, she said afterward. Is that bad? For the council, she said. That night, Lirith attempted something new. I will leave the room, she said. Elias looked up sharply. You don't have to prove anything. I do, she replied. To myself? She stepped into the corridor. For 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then, her posture stiffened. Her breathing slowed. The shifting lines on her skin dimmed. Elias stood. That's enough. She shook her head. Not yet. A minute passed. 2. When she returned, she leaned against the wall, steadying herself. I am functional, she said. You don't look it, Elias replied. I am adapting, she said, because of you. That night, Elias could not sleep. He realized something important then. The galaxy was not afraid of humans because they were dangerous. It was afraid because humans made others ask questions they had never needed to ask before. The council summoned Elias on the 4th cycle. This time, it was not a request. The chamber was wide and cold, filled with representatives from dozens of species. Some would not look at him. Others watched too closely. You are causing instability, one council member said. I'm just being human, Elias replied.
That is the issue, another said. They spoke of data.
Of neural growth, of cultural drift, of loss of control. Lirith stood behind him, silent. She must leave, the council said, and you must limit interaction. Elias turned to look at her. She met his eyes. I will go, she said softly.
No, Elias said before he could stop himself. She touched his arm lightly.
This is not an ending. It feels like one. It is a test, she said, for both of us. The council approved a compromise. Lirith would relocate to a nearby research wing. Elias would remain in his room. Contact would be limited, but not forbidden. As they walked back together, the station felt different again. You don't have to pretend this is fine, Elias said. I am not pretending, she replied. I am choosing. When the time came, Lirith stood at the doorway. This room changed me, she said. I will not forget it. Elias nodded. Neither will I. She left. The door closed. The room felt empty in a way it never had before. The days after were harder than Elias expected. He still worked. He still talked, but the silence felt sharper. He realized he had grown used to being observed, questioned, understood in a way no one had done before. Messages came from Lirith. Short ones. I am stable. I am thinking differently. I miss your unpredictability. Elias smiled at that one. Then, something unexpected happened. The council received complaints. Not about humans. About the restrictions. Aliens reported dullness, loss of creativity, emotional flattening. Productivity dropped, innovation slowed. They wanted access again, not addiction. Elias was called back to the chamber. This time, the council looked uncertain.
You did not force this, one member said. No, Elias replied.
We never do. Lilith was allowed to return, not to live in his room, but to visit. When she stepped inside again, she paused. I am relieved, she admitted. That's new. Elias said. Yes, she replied. So is hope. They sat in silence, not needing words. Outside, the galaxy argued, adjusted, resisted. Inside, one small room, a simple truth remained. Humans did not conquer. They did not infect. They changed the shape of what was possible, simply by being there. And the galaxy was only beginning to understand what that meant. After Lilith returned, the room felt alive again. Not loud, not busy, just awake. She did not sit on the floor anymore. She chose the chair near the desk, copying the way Elias leaned back when thinking. Sometimes she stood near the window. Sometimes she walked slowly from one side of the room to the other, pausing as if listening to thoughts only she could hear.
You are different, Elias said one evening. Yes, she replied.
So are you. I was already different. You are more patient now, she said. You pause before reacting. That is not how you did before. Elias smiled a little. Guess I learned something too. Outside the room, the station was changing again. The council had not removed the restrictions, but they were no longer strict. Humans were allowed limited interaction, carefully planned, supervised, controlled. It did not work. Aliens followed humans anyway, not closely, not openly, just enough to listen, to talk, to sit nearby and feel something they could not name. The research wing filled with reports. Creativity increased where humans visited. Arguments became more common, but so did solutions. Some species complained, others asked for more access. The council argued behind closed doors. Inside Elias's room, Lilith studied the situation quietly. They are losing control, she said. They never had it, Elias replied. That is what frightens them. One day, Elias was asked to speak publicly, not as a technician, as a human. The request made his stomach twist. I'm not a leader, he said. You do not lead, Lilith replied. You exist, that is enough. The chamber was full again, more crowded than before. The air felt heavy with attention. Elias stood alone in the center. No prepared speech, no display, no data. He spoke simply. Humans don't have answers, he said. We survive by asking them, even when it hurts.
Some council members shifted.
We don't make people change,
he continued.
We just show what change feels like.
A long silence followed. Afterward, nothing dramatic happened. No applause. No agreement, just quiet thought. That night, Lilith returned to his room later than usual. You stayed away longer today? Elias said. Yes, she replied. I wanted to test myself. And I did not weaken, she said. But I missed you. She paused, then added, I believe that is called attachment. Elias laughed softly. Yeah,
that sounds about right. The council's final debate lasted 3 cycles.
Some wanted humans isolated. Some wanted humans regulated. Some wanted humans everywhere. No group fully won. In the end, they chose something new. Choice. Humans would not be restricted, but no species would be forced to interact. Exposure would be voluntary, uncontrolled. Human. When the decision was announced, the station reacted in small ways. Some aliens left human areas forever. Others moved closer. The galaxy did not fall apart. It adjusted. Elias returned to his room after a long shift to find Lilith standing near the door. I will be leaving soon, she said. His chest tightened. Relocated again? No, she replied. My assignment is complete. That doesn't mean you have to go. She looked at him. It does. Growth requires distance.
He nodded slowly. Figures. She stepped closer.
I am no longer dependent, she said. But I am changed. So am I. They stood there, unsure what came next. You were not addictive, she said finally. You were transformative. She smiled. Really smiled. An expression she had practiced carefully. For a galaxy afraid of growth, she said. Yes. When she left the room this time, it did not feel empty. It felt finished. Outside, the station continued. Humans walked freely now. Not feared. Not worshipped. Just noticed. Elias sat on his bed, staring at the door. His room had been small, ordinary, and somehow it had become the place where the galaxy learned something important. That humans did not need permission to change the universe. They only needed to be themselves. And somewhere far away, Lilith looked out a window of her own, feeling something warm and unfamiliar. Not addiction, not need. Connection. Time moved on, the way it always did. The station did not mark the day when everything changed. No alarms sounded, no banners were raised. Life simply continued, slightly different than before. Humans walked the corridors without escorts now. Some aliens avoided them. Others walked beside them. Conversations happened in small, careful steps, like learning to walk again after a long rest. Elias noticed the changes most in small things. People laughed more, but also argued more. Meetings took longer. Decisions were slower, but better. Problems were no longer solved only by rules, but by discussion. The galaxy was learning something it had never practiced before. Living with uncertainty. Elias stayed in the same room. He had been offered relocation. A better space. A larger one. He refused. The room felt important, even if it looked the same as always. The bed, the desk, the window. Sometimes visitors asked to see it. Not tourists, researchers, thinkers, leaders. They stood quietly inside, as if the walls might speak. This is where it happened, they asked.
Yes, Elias replied. What exactly happened? Elias always answered the same way.
We talked. Most of them left confused. A few left thoughtful. Lilith returned months later. Not as an observer. Not as a subject. As herself. She looked different. Not physically. Something deeper. Her movements were more relaxed. Her pauses more natural. You stayed, she said, looking around the room.
I'd thought about leaving, Elias replied.
But this place still feels right. She nodded. Some locations retain meaning. They sat together, not speaking for a long time. I am no longer studying humans, she said finally. What are you studying now? Change, she replied.
How it spreads without force.
Elias smiled.
Good luck with that. It is difficult,
she said. But humans make it easier to understand. The galaxy outside continued to adjust. New programs formed. Mixed crews, shared research teams, not everywhere, not all, at once. Some species chose distance. That was allowed. Others chose closeness. That was allowed too. The council no longer tried to control outcomes. They focused on managing consequences instead. Elias was called less often now. When he was, it was not to explain humans. It was to remind others what humans were like. Messy, honest, unfinished. One council member asked him once, "Do humans always change things?" Elias thought for a moment. No, he said. Only when we're allowed to stay. Years passed. The station expanded. New sections. New species. New problems. Elias grew older, not noticeably, but enough to feel it. His work changed too. Less maintenance. More mentoring. Humans were good at that. Teaching without instructions. Lirith left again, this time by choice, not order. "We will meet again," she said. "I know," Elias replied. And he did. Sometimes briefly. Sometimes for long conversations. Never as dependency. Always as connection. The room remained. Eventually, the station marked it. Not with a plaque. With silence. People spoke softer inside. They stayed longer than necessary. Some said they felt clearer there. No one argued. One day, a young alien asked Elias, why did the galaxy not ban humans when it had the chance? Elias looked out the window. Because banning humans wouldn't stop change, he said. It would just stop honesty. The alien considered that. So humans are dangerous. Elias smiled. Only if you don't want to grow. Slowly. Unevenly. Humanly. And long after Elias retired, long after Lirith became a name in research history instead of a living presence, the room still existed, cleaned, preserved, ordinary. A place where nothing violent happened. A place where no one was conquered. A place where the universe learned that humans were not addictive. They were contagious. Not with sickness, but with possibility. And that, more than anything else, changed everything.